Welcome back. Today I am so excited to be sharing my second episode of my new series, Gluten Free Guides, where I'll be sharing my experience of all the countries and cities that I've been to with celiac disease. Today I am sharing about my experience visiting Norway in February of 2022.
Wow. Holy cow.
And this was only my second country that I visited with celiac disease, and it was only a few months after my official diagnosis. If you're planning a gluten-free trip to Norway or you're just interested in learning more about celiac travel, this is definitely the video for you.
Hi, I'm Sarah. In 2021, I was diagnosed with celiac disease at 23 years old. I had a really hard time processing this major life change, and I thought I couldn't do the things I loved, like traveling. But I've been determined to continue to live life to the fullest, and since my diagnosis, I've been able to travel to 21 countries. Now I plan on traveling all around the world and finding the best gluten-free food along the way.
So we only went to Norway for 6 days total, but we visited 2 different cities, the main city of Oslo and a city to the north, Tromsø. We made the most of our trip and definitely checked off some bucket list experiences. And like I said, I was there in February of 2022, and I am currently recording this video in September of 2023. So I just want to acknowledge that some things may have changed. Restaurants can open and they can close, but ultimately I still think Norway is a great country to visit with celiac disease. I would say it's pretty accessible to eat gluten-free in Norway for a few reasons. A lot of Norwegians speak English, especially in the big cities, so it was really easy to communicate my needs as someone with celiac disease needing to eat gluten-free. Additionally, they have the Norwegian Celiac Foundation, which is a national foundation that accredits restaurants. And as always, my usual travel tips with celiac disease include packing snacks, booking your gluten-free meal ahead of time with the airline, getting a gluten-free translation card, and learning a few terms in the local language just to make sure you can get by. Specifically for Norwegian, I learned a couple words, but the language is kind of hard. These are the terms. And this one's pretty easy. Gluten is gluten. Gluten-free, gluten-free. Celiac, celiac. Hvete and hvetemel, wheat and wheat flour. Norwegian's a tough language. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. And now it's time to share the restaurants that I visited on my 6-day trip to Norway. Not enough time to visit every single gluten-free restaurant, so I'm definitely gonna have to go back and try some, but overall, this list is pretty good. Starting off strong with Pepe's Pizza. I think we literally ate here almost every meal just because it was really convenient. It's a chain restaurant that offers pizza, if you can believe it.
The servers recognized us because we're at Pepe's Pizza and we've had dinner here every single night we've been in Oslo or Tromsø because they got gluten-free pizza. I got the tropical, which has pineapple and pepperoni. It's kind of like Hawaiian.
And they have really good celiac safe protocols and gluten-free options. My pizza always came out very safe on a separate tray, and it wasn't cut ahead of time to avoid cross-contamination, and it came out with a little flag that said gluten-free or gluten-free to reassure me that it was celiac safe. We actually found a Pepe's Pizza in Tromsø and Oslo, so we were able to enjoy it all over Norway. Another pizza place that we visited in Oslo was called Olivia, and they just had another version of gluten-free pizza. I ate a lot of gluten-free pizza on this trip, and I will say it again, gluten-free Italian food is some of the best food that you can find abroad. I also have to give a shout out to McDonald's because this was the first place that I was able to eat gluten-free fries with a dedicated fryer and no wheat-containing ingredients since my diagnosis. And I believe that there are over 10 countries in Europe that offer celiac-safe options at McDonald's, and Norway is one of them. We also went to Baker Hansen in Oslo, which is not dedicated gluten-free, but it is a bakery that has different gluten-free options, and I believe I had some really good energy balls there. In Tromsø, we took the gondola up the mountain to see amazing views of the city, and the cafe/restaurant was up there, literally had gluten-free brownies. I was absolutely shocked when I got up to the counter to see a gluten-free marking with the brownies. So that was a very exciting experience and just goes to show how accessible it was to eat gluten-free in Norway sometimes. Although I shouldn't be too surprised because this is a main tourist attraction and it's always great for different countries and cities to be really accessible to all. I also got hot chocolate at the top, and I just want to add a quick note that not all chocolate is gluten-free, and you really need to make sure you check the packaging of each mix just to make sure it doesn't have wheat in it. Especially if you're traveling to Norway in the winter like we did, it was amazing to have gluten-free hot chocolate. Another amazing experience in Norway that we had was staying in these ice domes. It was absolutely incredible and no, we didn't get that cold, but the food situation was amazing. Our guide seemed to know what celiac disease was and what the gluten-free diet was when we coordinated with them ahead of booking the tour and consistently throughout the whole trip. I was able to eat dinner and breakfast with everyone, having almost everything.
So for dinner tonight we have salmon, reindeer, and veggies, and I'm gonna try the reindeer.
And then for breakfast the next morning, we had yogurt and different kinds of fruit. I did not have the lunch that day because they could not guarantee that the reindeer soup was made in a celiac safe environment. They were very aware of cross-contact and cross-contamination. So just because it wasn't made on their premises, they couldn't guarantee it, and we decided to play it safe. Another great experience I had was staying at our hotel in Oslo, and we had complimentary breakfast. Now, usually I do not eat at buffets. This was very early on in my celiac diagnosis, so I'm not sure I would do everything the same, but I did have a lot of great options there. I was able to eat eggs, yogurt, and they even had packaged gluten-free bread. And this was the Scandic Carl Johan Hotel. And I also wanted to note that I was able to find gluten-free options in the Oslo airport. This restaurant called Fritaza had packaged gluten-free muffins and little smoothies. And a quick note on grocery shopping, we didn't do a big haul since we were only there for 6 days and we were bobbing between 2 cities, but ultimately I wish we did more grocery shopping because Norway is expensive, especially gluten-free foods. When we did go grocery shopping one time, there were a lot of gluten-free options. I'll just have to go back to explore the rest of the grocery stores. I hope this video about gluten-free Norway convinced you to visit or just helped you plan your travels. If you liked this guide, definitely subscribe and turn notifications on just so you don't miss any other gluten-free guides coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.